Hey YouTube, today I'm working on an 82 Collector's Edition. I'm been basically clay barring the car, then running a quick polish over it, a cleaner wax, and then a regular wax on it. This side of the car's been done, and this side hasn't. It doesn't look bad, but you can really feel in the paint that it's got contaminants in the paint, and it's a little bit maybe overspray or something on the car. I don't know. The guy that painted the car, it's an okay job, not spectacular, but a nice driver car. So I'm just cleaning it up, and I'll show you the steps as I go along. But I've done the outer edge here with cleaner wax, as well as the mirror glaze swirl remover and the Canuba gold. So I've done the outer part of it, front lights, but now all I did here was clay bar it. So it's pretty smooth, but it hasn't had the other steps done. So I'll do that. Have to do the front fender, door, and passenger side rear quarter, and the front of the front bumper and the rear of the rear bumper. So we'll see how it looks. So I basically just dropped some bead of the swirl remover down, and I'm just going to rub it in. A little hard to do when here, but you can see some of the imperfections in person, but I don't know if you can see it. Basically, I'm doing this just by hand because I don't want to really put any swirls in it or anything. I'm just trying to even out a little bit of the clear coat, and it is enough just to do this to get it. I already clay barred it, and I'm basically just lightly going over it just to get it off. Then I'm gonna hit it with a cleaner wax, and then from there I'm gonna hit it with just a regular polish. And it's really darkening up the color, and it's taking out all the imperfections in it that are there. That's a chip. Yeah, that's a chip, I think. Yeah, chip. I can't get chips out with it, but yeah. It'll just get a little deeper of a gloss and try to even it out, because he's really blotchy on the paint, in my opinion. So that's that. And then obviously I switch each rag with the chemical I'm using. Now I'm gonna run with some Meguiar's cleaner wax, just going over. And as I'm doing this, Greg and Bill are working on the 85. They were gonna put a BBK throttle body on it, and it turned out that the throttle cable is actually jammed up. So what we're gonna do is just put the cleaner wax on. All right, so basically I just kind of go in here. As you can, I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but you can actually almost hear it like it's sandpaper. I mean, it's really what you're hearing as you're going over it. And what that's doing is, again, just like the clay bar and stuff, it's picking up contaminants, because this is a cleaner. It's got a little bit of abrasiveness in it. Nothing you can really see, but obviously you can hear it. Now this is a clean panel already, so this is stuff, you know, you can do at your home without a wheel. I have a wheel, so if I really wanted to, I could wheel it, but I don't really want to wheel it, because then I'll put swirls in it itself. So I'm going to put this on. I'm not going to let it fully cure, and then I'm going to take it off. Now the idea with this is to not let it fully dry, and obviously never to be in the sun. Every body panel is supposed to be cold. And I don't know if you can tell, what I'm doing is doing one panel at a time, because I don't need the car. So what I'm doing is just doing one panel at a time, and going all 4 steps, and then from there, then I'm moving on to the next panel. like I said, I haven't done the side panel here yet. The door, the rear quarter, everything else on the car is done. Well, the front of the bumper and the rear of the bumper as well. So let me wipe this off, because and nothing crazy, just wiping it. And as you go, you're gonna probably have to wipe it more than once, because it'll dry again, because I'm not letting it fully cure. And that's the positive behind it. You just kind of re-wipe it, and just, I don't know if you can see the difference. I don't know what the camera's showing, but there's a big difference in the look. I mean, I can actually see my actual reflection with definition I couldn't before. Well, let me take this and just put this down. All right. Again, put it on basically and take it off before it's fully dry. This way it actually doesn't also leave swirl marks. It's the better way of handling it. I do that with all my waxes. I know they say they say a light haze. They don't. Most people think they can leave it on there forever. And, oh yeah, it's gonna have more protection. No, it's not. It's gonna actually ruin your paint doing that. And then really, sometimes the only way you can get it back off is to re-applicate over it and pull it off. But just going. This is basically a canuba, so this wax isn't going to do any cleaning. And you can hear it this time. There's no scratching, because this doesn't have any cleaning agents in it. So this is just a pure protection. So I'm going to do this light through the hood, and then I'll come back on. So that's on, and basically what I like to do is kind of just tilt my head and look down the car, and you'll be able to see if there's any spots you missed. Again, I'm not going to let it fully cure. I'm just going to let it kind of dry up a little bit, then I'll wipe it off. I always wipe off if I come around the car. I always wipe back those spots first, because there's wax and all there already. So I just kind of go back over and wipe it in. And all that's going to do is basically stop it from actually swirling and making more dust. You don't need it. It doesn't need to be totally dry, and it actually helps kind of move it and smear it in a little better as you do it. So. I mean, that's hazed enough where you can kind of just wipe it with your finger and you see it come off. That's enough for you to be able to take it off. But as you can see, it's got a little bit of a haze still to it, and that's enough to start to get it off, and she'll come right off. Okay. And like I said, then as it dries a little bit more, you wipe it another time, and you'll have a full haze on it. That's with the wax on it. I mean, she's very smooth. And then what I normally do is I let it dry up a little bit with it pretty much all off. And then I do a final wipe down with a detail spray, and that'll take off anything I missed at the end. So what people don't realize is even the towel's putting scratches in this car. I mean, you know, it's anything that's rubbed over, it's going to put a scratch on it. If there's dust on the car, it's going to scratch. Obviously, not like a scratch you'll see, but micro scratches. So we'll let that cure up for a minute. Then I'll just hit the detail spray over the hood, take it off. And this is just the first wax. I'll do this probably 5 or 6 more times before she ever comes out of the garage. So as I was doing this, I was thinking, and most of you are looking at probably going, wait a minute, aren't collectors supposed to have faded graphics on this? And the answer is yes. And they're also supposed to have pinstriping all over the car. This was a repaint. I just picked up the car on Saturday. I bought it for my wife, and I'm going to put the graphics back on, but I'm going to do a little cleanup work on the paint. Like there's a spot here. I don't know if I'm going to I may just blend it in. I don't know. Try to to it. Maybe take it in with an airbrush, I don't know yet. But so I'm just trying to clean it up before I put the graphics on it. But it's a real collector's edition. I mean, you can see in the interior. This is a collector's edition. It's got 76,000 miles on it. 76, almost 77,000 miles on it. I picked the car up for $6,500, so that's a great price for one of these. Needs to be gone over, obviously. It's you know, not all there yet. Now, the graphic kit, to do the full graphic kit on this car is about $1,300 to $1,500, depending on who you use. Just the hood graphic is $500. The door graphics are $500, and the stripe kit, or the pinstripe kit, is like $400. So, but if you buy it in a whole kit, it goes down, not by much, pennies, but pennies are worth it when you're working on a car and trying to get it back. I may wait till Corvette's at Carlisle so that I can get a 10% discount from being at the show. Sometimes you get online with those guys and they run a special with 10% off and free shipping if you have the code. I did that with Greg's Y-Pipe for the 85, and so that worked out for us. Because we went to Spring Carlisle, but that number was done by the time we went to go do that. So anyway, I'm gonna clean it all up before I worry about that. I'll detail underneath the motor and that kind of stuff. Again, this isn't gonna be a show car. It's gonna be a car my wife wants to play with. I'm sure she'll take it to shows, but it's not an NCRS car. I fixed the rear window. It wasn't shutting right. Actually, it wasn't opening right. One of the latches was disconnected. So again, while I was going, just talking about the graphic part of the car. So yeah, and like I said, the last thing I do is I just respray the car with detail spray. Just that'll catch anything that's a little bit hazed that I missed. Plus it just, one more time, removes contaminants. Even from just sitting here, there's contaminants that keep falling on the car, the dust or whatever. I wiped that down. The only thing I didn't show you is doing the clay bar, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so doing the clay bar. If you feel across the car, you can feel with your hands little bumps and things like that. It's smooth, but you can if you close your eyes, you'd stop left and right on where it is. Okay, so we're gonna use a clay bar. Meguiar's makes it. This is a clay bar. Basically, they come in a kit with 3. And
on your lunch break, go to the closest Chevy dealer, see if you can get it, or call them.
so this is what it is as it's starting to work through. Now, to start this is a really simple process, but most people don't know how to do it.
You're on it now.
First things first.
Hit the pedal.
Actually spray bar, or detail spray the whole fender. That gets anything, and this car's been washed and everything else, but that gets anything that's loose off of it. That's the first step. So that's the first step to clay barring. And you wipe that down just like just like if you got bird poop on your car, you'd wipe it down. And this is what you need for that. Now, there's stuff on this car that I'm going to take care of later on. Like there's a run right here. I'm going to take care of that at a different time. There's a run here, and here. I'm going to take them out, but I'm not going to do it on my first pass here. I want to clean the car, and then I'll worry about finding everything and spotting out each run and cleaning it up. That's the stuff I want to do before I actually put the graphics on the car. Because if I have to repaint something, I don't want to spend $300 again to buy a pinstripe kit, because I put it on, now I have to respray a quarter or something. So anyway, that's the first step. All right, so that's wiped, and now I have detail spray sprayed back on it, and all I'm going to do is walk back and forth, and you'll hear it. You'll hear it grabbing stuff.
You're gonna put this back there.
Hold it over, and then just wipe it again. And you keep doing it until you don't hear the sound anymore. And you'll know what I'm talking about when you're rubbing it down. I want to reiterate, this was a cleaned car. This was also detail sprayed before I started it. So this isn't like dust for anything from the top just sitting there. This has been wiped and cleaned, and you can just hear it pulling. I can hear it pulling anyway. Sometimes my son can't hear it, but I can hear it. And again, you just keep going over until that grabbing sound stops.
Yeah, hold that back up. Yeah, he's gonna get sealed.
In between each stroke, you kind of wipe it back down. You feel it again. Like I can feel something in here. I don't know if that's a paint nib or what that is. This guy doesn't know how to friggin' paint a Corvette to save his soul, but whatever. Supposedly he was a retired body guy. Thank God he's retired, because we don't need guys like that out in the field. I'm retired from painting Corvettes from years ago, so I went to law school instead of continuing to paint cars. When I was my son's age, I painted a lot of Corvettes. I worked for a Corvette shop, so you know, you need to put these things up on jack stands and you know, paint all the spots. You need to paint underneath. You don't just, you know, pimp my ride it, if you know what I mean. Any of you guys that watch Pimp My Ride, they got it up on a lift and half the car's not painted. You know, that's what it is. So we're gonna be painting Bill's 87, so we'll do a video on that, a real video on painting one of these stupid things. I'm not gonna bring it down to bare glass, which, you know, if his 17-year-old daughter wasn't gonna be driving it, that's probably what I would have done. But I don't think it's worth it. It's a black car. I don't want to put tons of waves in it trying to, you know, bring it down and bring it back up. So you'll see that coming up soon, because he's busting Greg's chops. He wants the car painted. So we might just paint it in sections because it's black. I might just pull the car apart and just do it in sections. Pull the door off, do everything on it. It's black, so it's not, I know guys say, hey, there's 10 million colors of black. Yeah, but, you know, I was pretty consistent with it. We can probably make it where it's good. Sometimes I don't like to do that, because sometimes, you know, when you piece spot a car, it doesn't come out nice. But I've done it both ways. I painted the Alpine car that way in pieces, and it was fine. The Alpine Stereo Company. I built their Superbird years ago, Super Coupe, and reality, it was fine. So, you know, this, like I said, this is not a show car. This is just a nice driver. My wife always wanted a collector's, so I got rid of that yellow pace car, and I picked this car up. And again, I got it cheap. So to me, having it cheap and being able to just, you know, drive it whenever you want, where it is, you don't really care about the car that much, is a lot different than, you know, my numbers matching 66 convertible that, you know, it's date coded on top of numbers matching. You know, that's a different thing. You don't really want to be driving those cars. And that's the reason why I got rid of it, because, you know, too much of an investment. But these are good. These are fun cars. You can, you know, drive these, take them to local shows, do all that. And Corvette guys are jerk-offs anyway. You know, in my opinion anyway. If you don't belong to a club, they don't give you a trophy on a 7,000 mile ZR1 that's You know, been in the Corvette Museum on loan. It's top flighted. It's Bloomington Gold. It's had the McLaren Award done to it. And you go to a local show and you get a 3rd place to a 84 Corvette that's, you know, got stickers all over it. Whatever. That's years ago. That made me stop going to car shows. I don't need someone to tell me I have a pretty wife. I know I have a pretty wife. I don't need someone else to tell me that. So I stopped the show scene a long time ago. I do events more than shows. In other words, I'll go to Carlisle. I'll bring a car up there and just run the parade or something like that. And I never bring a great car. You know, I bring a car that I don't care about because it's, you know, it's a show. You got little kids running around with ice cream cones, you know, so that's not something I really enjoy. But I enjoy car people. I like hanging out with car people. Not necessarily always Corvette people, but car people. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to do this a few more times, figure out where else it is, then I'll move on to that next step. The thing for detail spray is to get bird poop off your car. That's probably the most important thing. If birds decide they want to poop on your car, this stuff is what you can get off with. And a bird decided to do target practice all over this car. Not fun. Now, my idea with bird poop, rehydrate it. Don't rub the car, you will actually scratch the car. Rehydrate the bird poop, let it sit, then wipe it. Don't want to rub out bird poop because you'll just scratch the car. Rehydrate it, let it get wet, and then walk over it. This car's pretty clean. It's got a little pollen on it, so that's why I'm just wiping it down. It's really just pollen. It was washed and waxed the other day, and it's just been sitting out. And you can see that some bird just decided to have fun with it. And again, don't want that sitting on your paint. So, quick little wipe down. Make sure there's no bird poop on it. And again, there's a lot on this car. What bird decided to do that? Don't appreciate it though. A quick little wipe down. As you can see, the car looks a lot better without bird poop all over it. Take it out of gear.
You know, the only vehicle I have that don't get bird poop for that one there. Here,
The truck? Scratch it, you'll be painting it. You hitting any cars?
How low is that? They go down.
Yeah, it grabs that little skirt a little bit. Yeah, it's close, right?
Couldn't do my driveway with that thing.
No, I don't go in your driveway with it. Starts with a puff of smoke. Watch the cable. Anyway, back to my job. So I just ran a clay bar down the side of the car here, just to kind of get it done because we're so close between the motorcycles. Now I'll just run through it and go through the 3 stages. Okay, so I'm going to stop here for the night. Basically got the hood done today. Got the other panel done on this side. The rear quarter, all steps done. Clay barred the door, clay barred the front fender. So I still have to do the 3 steps on the door, 3 steps on the front fender, and then do the back section of the bumper and the front section of that bumper. And then we'll start going around and starting to detail it out, where I'll go back and do some paint revisions, like where the runs are and that kind of stuff. But for right now, I'm quitting for the night. My arm's starting to hurt, and I think she looks okay. She's getting a nicer, deeper shine to it anyway. So it looks good. And as usual, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and come watch another Corvette come back to life. So it's good. Thanks.